Coming up on Mountain News this morning, the investigation continues into Kentucky's juvenile justice system as the DOJ hosted a recent meeting with community members. And a father says he is happy his daughter is alive after Saturday's mass shooting.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. We are coming up on 6:30 on Tuesday, July 9th. Now let's go ahead and send it over to meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast this morning.
Good morning, Olivia. Good morning, everyone. Fog's the story this morning, at least for today right now. And outside our door, visibility's been fluctuating. It's 70 degrees, and you probably, if you've stepped outside, did you give a big sigh? Yeah, that air is feeling heavy. Nonetheless, the visibility being low as you make your way south of Hazard on through the rest of the Cumberland Valley as well. Temperature-wise, 70 to 75 for a lot of us, a touch cooler toward Clintwood and Grundy. And the satellite radar composite this morning showing a lot of clouds across the Commonwealth. We got some breaks in the clouds, and more regarding breaks in the clouds are across central portions of Tennessee back into Alabama as we look toward Memphis and down toward Jackson, Mississippi. This is a line I think we got to keep an eye on as we head for the afternoon regarding some scattered showers and thunderstorms. In the meantime, we call it partly sunny today, muggy, very hot, high up to 92. So keep an eye on the radar mid to late afternoon. More about the First Alert 7-day forecast. Any relief, we'll let you know in this half hour. Olivia?
All right, Tim, thank you. It's been nearly 2 months since the U.S. Justice Department launched its investigation into Kentucky's juvenile justice system. Last night, DOJ officials held an outreach meeting to connect with community members and discuss their process. Jeremy Toms listened in to the meeting and brings us the details.
Federal investigators from the U.S. Department of Justice called in to hear from Kentuckians on Monday.
These are your children, your grandchildren, your siblings, your friends, your loved ones. You're here because you're worried about them, and we are too.
The DOJ launched an investigation into Kentucky's Department of Juvenile Justice in May, which came after a critical performance review by Kentucky Auditor Allison Ball, finding high levels of extreme use of force and serious staffing problems.
We received significant information from public reports, families, and advocates that there may be serious problems occurring in these facilities.
Their team will be looking into conditions at all 8 of the state's juvenile detention centers to see if children receive adequate mental health care, what use of physical and chemical force looks like, and how the department implements isolation.
Locking children up for even short periods of time, especially under harsh conditions, causes real harm.
They note this is a civil investigation, not criminal, and it will look at the entire system.
Although we very much care about what happens to every child, our work is focused on widespread problems that affect children over and over again.
These officials acknowledge it will be a lengthy, sometimes frustrating process for the public, but they add the public's voices are crucial to that ongoing effort.
This is obviously a very invested community, and so I appreciate your patience. I appreciate your willingness to be vulnerable with us, and I appreciate any and all information you have to share with us.
Jeremy Toms, WKYT.
These federal officials say they must complete their investigation before any findings can be released. If they find that Kentucky has systematically violated children's constitutional rights, the Department of Justice will try to enter an agreement with the state to resolve these issues. So far, they say the DJJ has cooperated fully with their investigation. The man arrested Saturday after a road rage incident was arraigned yesterday in Laurel County. 21-year-old Joseph Brewer reportedly shot 21-year-old Jaden Jackson 2 times. Officials say Jackson was not in the road rage incident, but got out of his car when he saw Brewer yelling at a woman that honked her horn. Gilbert Achardo with the Laurel County Sheriff's Office has a suggestion if you face an aggressive driver.
Well, we want to make a suggestion because we've all been the victim of road rage or aggressive drivers, and if there's an aggressive driver out there, we suggest that you don't honk your horn, that you get a license tag information if you can, a color of the vehicle and the direction of travel, and call 911 and let one of our deputies check it because you really don't know what's going on with that driver.
According to court documents, Brewer is being held on a $150,000 cash bond. He has a preliminary hearing set for July 23rd. Deputies say Jackson is expected to survive. A 19-year-old EKU student was among those shot early Saturday morning at her brother's 21st birthday party at a home in Florence. 4 people were killed, including her mother, Missy. Right now, she's inside a Cincinnati hospital, working to recover from those serious injuries. Her dad, Bruce, was not at the birthday party for his son, but lives just a few miles down the road. At 3 a.m., he got a heart-stopping call and rushed to the scene.
I parked at the top of the street and ran down to the house, ran in the house where I saw all the carnage of a scene that I don't think any human being should ever have to witness in their life. And I thought that I saw Chloe deceased in the corner. And so I thought Chloe was gone.
Bruce says he initially didn't know his ex-wife Melissa had been killed, but he saw Chloe being loaded onto a gurney and taken away into an ambulance. He says it was a huge sigh of relief. Brooks Houck, who is charged with the murder of Crystal Rogers, appeared in court yesterday. His attorney argued against a joint trial with Joseph and Stephen Lawson. He says trying the 3 together would require jurors do, quote, mental gymnastics to keep up with everything. Butler said if they are tried together, they will have to play more than 20 hours of police interviews. Prosecutors, on the other hand, believe having a joint trial is essential to the case.
I think what we have are collaborative defenses between Steve Lawson and Brooks Houck, because the pleadings that we have in these 2 cases have the same misquotes, the same mistakes in them. There's obviously some form of collaboration going on in those pleadings as to a joint defense.
Houck has pleaded not guilty. He was Rogers' boyfriend at the time she disappeared. Court documents showed Houck recruited the Lawsons to help get rid of Rogers. A Central Kentucky mother and her boyfriend are both behind bars after the death of an infant over the weekend. The Fayette County coroner says 20-month-old Joshua Bowen died Saturday. And now his mother, Brianna Johnson, and her boyfriend, Kyle Gudon, are facing criminal abuse charges. Johnson is charged with criminal abuse. Gudon is charged with assault, domestic violence, and criminal abuse. Johnson's arrest citation says she intentionally permitted another person to abuse her child. A former Rowan County school teacher and assistant girls basketball coach has been sentenced to 22 years in prison. 40-year-old Andrew Zahari of Moorhead was at the sentencing at the U.S. District Courthouse in Ashland. And Zahari had a sexual relationship with a student at the high school beginning in the summer of 2022. He also produced sexually explicit images and videos of the victim using a cell phone. He pleaded guilty to production of child pornography. A Madison County man is arrested for reportedly raping an 11-year-old girl. Deputies with the sheriff's office arrested 18-year-old Gabrielle Foster. According to the arrest warrant, the sexual assault took place on July 4th. The 11-year-old victim told police Foster forced her to have sexual intercourse with him, despite knowing her age and her saying no repeatedly. He is currently locked up in the Madison County Detention Center. A McCreary County man is facing charges after he tried to resist arrest. Police were able to find Dylan Phillips during the weekend after they received information about him being at a home across from the Pine Knot Fire Department. After finding him in a bedroom, police say he was taken to the ground after not complying with orders. Phillips also had a warrant on him, which included felony charges such as fleeing and evading police and wanton endangerment. Two people are facing charges in connection to a severe neglect and abuse case in Pike County. The incident happened last week at a home on Kentucky 194. A complaint was given to police about a woman that was disabled being neglected. When police arrived at the home, they smelled an odor and roaches were inside. Police later discovered bug bites on the woman and that she had not been taken care of. Robert and Alyssa Kelly were taken to the Pike County Detention Center. A Corbin man is facing charges after dispatchers say they received a call about someone being out of control. It happened last Thursday at a home in the southern part of Laurel County when officials say they received a call about Austin Kidd. After deputies arrived at the scene, they said a commotion could be heard by neighbors nearby. Kidd was arrested and taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center. Police in Powell County are asking for help finding a couple of people regarding a theft case. Here is a photo of the two men. Stanton PD says this photo was taken at the Power Shell gas station in Stanton a few weeks ago. Anyone with information about the case can call Powell County Dispatch at 606-663-4116. Last month, an Eastern Kentucky coal truck driver died at 47 after being on life support for a brain bleed. This is not where Joey Lips Noble's story ends, though. His family says they were able to donate his heart and kidneys, saving 3 people's lives. Lauren Salyer, a community educator with Donate Life Kentucky and Kentucky Organ Donor Affiliates, says it is important to have conversations with your family if you want to be a donor.
There's lots of different taboo topics in the world, and sometimes people view organ donation as one, but it shouldn't be viewed that way because, you know, just like you would talk about your living will with your family member, it's important to talk about those decisions as well because it gives your family so much peace at the end, knowing that they did what you wanted.
Salyer says there are thousands of people in Kentucky waiting to receive a life-saving transplant, and one person can save up to 8 lives. In Wolfe County, the search and rescue team helped a group of off-roaders get back on the road. Early Saturday morning, a 911 call came in about a Jeep Wrangler that had been stuck for over 10 hours. At daybreak, 2 searchers went out on a wellness check. Everyone in the party was fine, and the rescuers put them in contact with a company that could recover the Jeep. Approximately 8 hours later, the Jeep was freed and the off-roaders were back on their way to Tennessee. In West Virginia, crews with the Logan Fire Department battled an early morning house fire Sunday. The fire was on Heritage Lane in the Sunbeam area just before 2:30 a.m. Firefighters say they found a double-wide fully involved with heavy fire coming from the back. All residents got out and said they woke up thanks to their smoke detectors. No injuries were reported.
Steamy start to the day across eastern and southern Kentucky. All of us in the 70s until you get over toward Clintwood, sitting at 68, check that, 65. It's reading ahead, 68 at Grundy. Across the rest of the viewing area, we're in the lower 70s from Ashland to Moorhead. It's also 72. Good morning to you in Williamsburg. Now, we do have a few breaks in the clouds. There are more breaks in the clouds, though. As you make your way across central eastern Tennessee into Alabama, it's the reason why skies will turn partly sunny today. But we'll keep an eye on this line here coming through Mississippi because it'll be coming through eastern and southern Kentucky as we head through the latter portion of the afternoon toward this evening. A high today in Hazard up to 92. More about the First Alert 7-day forecast as your WYMT Mountain Morning News continues right after this.